Good morning, traders. This is Brian Weber for technicalanalysis.research.com, and this is a Euro-Dollar video report for the 9th of May 2012. So we're going to have a look at a few things that's happened on the Euro since my last update towards the London close yesterday. And pretty much the Euro just stayed within its range yesterday overall. Again, there was trading opportunities within the market. Based on my support resistance levels yesterday and looking out for that divergence and price action to confirm the moves. Yesterday we had a couple of resistance points around here yesterday which are no longer valid because they've been broke now. But yesterday, if you guys can remember, we had a trading opportunity here, but we didn't take it because it was actually up here. Because the target was a central pivot yesterday and the target was too tight. But then when we got the retrace, we got a better opportunity to get long, and this was a trade that we took yesterday. And the other opportunities were going to come if we actually broke and held the central pivot as support. So if we had a break above, which we did, but it didn't hold as support, it just came back down below. But if it held as support, we're going to trade this up towards the previous day's highs around the 130.65 and possibly that weekly pivot at 130.75, or just 10 pips higher. The other scenario was if the DS1 level gave way and came back to hold as resistance, we could have got short. But again, as you guys can see, the price did break the DS1 level but didn't hold it as resistance. It just came back up again, so we never got any short opportunities to get short in the market there. So really, overall, the euro dollar just pretty much stayed within its little 20-30 pip range yesterday. It didn't really go anywhere. It was just spiking below the support, spiking above the resistance, taking out stops on both sides. For a lot of market participants, a lot of speculators. This trade here, well, you'll be looking at this. This is a black line. This just represents a trade entry that I called on Twitter last night. If I just bring up my Twitter page, if any of you guys follow me on Twitter, you would have got this trade. Where are we? Yeah. Late last night, about 8 p.m., I was mentioning that now could be the time to sell the euro. It's failed to close back above the 30.15 as indicated on my video update that I posted yesterday. And then I go on to say if you fall back below the 130.100 level, then we'll be short euro dollar and hold on to tomorrow. But then I mentioned to Davy Jones, who works at IG Index, I've got a big juicy sell stop sitting at 130.03. Which I'll leave pending until the European London session open. But since then, the trade has triggered. If I just go up here, the trade was triggered here at the 130.03 level, and it produced a 30 pip trade. And again, you guys could have followed this trade if you follow me on Twitter. And it's not just that, I post a lot of trades throughout the day as well. Okay, so this was a trade I just left running overnight, thinking it probably triggered towards the London Open, but actually triggered before I just went to bed. And it produced a nice 30 pip trade here to the downside where it officially broke the DS1 level as well. Okay, so guys, follow me on Twitter if you want to catch some free trades, trade ideas, and trade calls. But enough of that. What we saw is a decline and the range breakout here. For the euro dollar, we've headed down towards today's DS1 level, just a few pips shy of today's DS1 level. We've got the RSI just bouncing off the oversold. It's not quite there, but it's not quite dipped below it, but it's just recently bounced off of it. And this is why we're seeing this little correction in the market just now, because the long-term RSI is recently showing signs of that oversold, but again, it had this downtrend line. This just broke the trend line, confirming the correction in the market for the RSI, and this is why, again, we're getting this little bounce here off the support point. Stochastics also oversold, heavily trending up, and just reaching that overbought level now. So what do I have in store for euro dollar today? Well, there's actually a few things that could play out. The trend is definitely down on the 15-minute chart. We've got the 50 below the 100 and the 15-100 below the 200 per moving averages. So those are trending down, but that's not so much a big deal because these are lagging indicators. Um, so it's all about support and resistance again. Let me just get rid of my drawings here. Um, what I've actually done is not drawn in any support and resistance points because when I was doing my analysis this morning, my support and resistance points were pretty much falling right on the daily, weekly, and monthly pivots anyway. They were only like within a few pips of each other. So I just decided to go with the pivot points today as my support and resistance because my technical support and resistance were pretty much bang on the daily pivots anyway, and I don't want to clutter on my chart too much here. So the daily pivots, monthly and weekly pivots are going to be my support and resistance points today, and the points where I'm going to decide in which direction I'm going to trade. Now, what I'm going to suggest is because we'll be now putting in lower lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, but then the trend changes here when it puts in this lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and so on until we put in this lower low here. Now DS1 is going to be crucial because it's only a few pips away from Sunday's low or Friday's low, which was 129.55 way over here. Okay, so I'm going to go short on the euro dollar if we actually break that level today. So a DS1 level here, if we actually see some moves that break this DS1 level, I'm probably just going to go instantly short in the market and trade this down towards that DS2 level down here, which is the 129.33. And from there, my next target will be the 129.05. And this is a support point that's not been tested for a long time. I do suspect that there'll be some decent sized orders here, decent sized bids to hold price temporarily before then we see a break if we do see some downside momentum today. Okay, so if I'm going to go short, then I'm going to have to see a breakout of this DS1 level. I'm going to trade this down to the DS2, which is 129.33. That DS1 level, by the way, is 129.63. So if that level is taken out, I'm trading this down towards the 129.33. And then from there, I'm going to trade it down towards the 129.05 level. I do have more support down here with the DS3 and the WS1 levels, and those go as low as the 128.67. The DS3 level is around 128.84. So really, those will be my overall target today. It'd be nice if you could get down that low if you do see some downside momentum. But just be aware of that 129.05 because it's not been tested and it is a proper technical support region. There probably will be some sort of bid there to hold price, whether it's large bids to push price back up, or whether they're weak bids that'll be faded and then eventually broke. I don't know at this stage, but do keep your eye on that 129.05. Okay, so if I break DS1 129.63, I'm going to get short, trade it down to 129.33 and then the 129.05 levels. For any upside moves, really what we're going to have to see is a break of this daily pivot, because this is what's going to take us back above all the previous swing lows, all the swing lower lows, that is. Okay, so we got our lower lows and lower highs here, and really the next significant swing high, which is here, which was my entry for the overnight trade. We get what reason why I went short there is because we had this little confluence of swing highs and swing lows all in this region here. Okay, so you can pretty much just draw a line there: swing low, swing high, swing low, and this was becoming a strong technical area here. And to be perfectly clear, nothing has changed. It still is a strong technical area because again we've got a swing low, we've got a swing high, we've got another swing high, all in this area. Okay, so this is a really strong little technical area that's pretty much going to flip the bias from bulls to bears today again. Whether we're going to stay within the range, whether we're going to test new highs, whether we're going to bounce and go lower, this is going to be another technical area. Again, the daily pivot is just above there, and the reason why I'm not saying go long at the 130.03 or 130.05 is because we do get spikes above it from time to time. As you guys can see here, we spiked below here, spiked above here, spiked below here, spiked above, and spiked above. So it's not to the last pip, this support and resistance point here. It does have pros for price to move through it. We don't want to get a false signal, okay? So if I just draw a line through there, extend my line through there, what we don't want to happen is that price comes up, moves above there, and we think we're getting an order to go, a signal to go long, when really it's just a spike and price may just come back under it. So we're going to give it that little bit of a range here for the daily pivot. That should protect us against any spikes just above this red support and resistance line around the 130.05 level. Okay, so we're going to look for price to actually come above the daily pivot to get as long in the market. And if you get long in the market, we're going to target that MS1 and DR1 levels, which are around the 130.32 up towards the 130.42. Okay, so a little 10 pip gap between these two zones here, but that'll be our target if we break the central pivot. Okay, so break the central pivot, we're getting long up to this zone up here, and we're going to cover our longs at this position here and see what happens. When I say we'll see what happens, if we break above the DR1 level, which is here, then we'll target the weekly pivot. Remember, we'll still completely fill the gap from Sunday, and hitting this weekly pivot will achieve that. So the weekly pivot standing at 130.75. That's our overall target for the upside today to complete the full gap, because there is a little bit of a portion of that gap still to be filled, as I mentioned the other day there. With these highs that we saw over the last few days, okay, we've still got this little portion of the gap here to fill, and this weekly pivot would do that. It would achieve the gap fill pretty much, okay? So 130.75 is our overall target, but we only go long if we break above the daily pivot today. Okay, so that's our both our trading opportunities. Obviously, a little bit of trading opportunities within the range, but to go long, break above daily pivot, target the MS1 and DR1 level, cover your longs at that point, stand aside in the market and see what happens. If you break above the DR1 level, then target the W pivot, which is the weekly pivot at 130.075. To go short in the market today, what we're going to look for is a break of that DS1 level at 129.63 and trade this down towards the DS2 at 129.33 and possibly down to that 129.05 technical support region down here as well. Okay, so that's our both for buy and long opportunities. Of course, we could just enter the range and trade in another range today. In that case, I will make an update video and give some trading opportunities based on the range or a breakout of the range if you do just range trades for the rest of the day. But our buy and sell opportunities are pretty much clear. So I hope you guys have a good one.